Hey everyone, I'm Edward. I was a graduate of Basis International School of Guangzhou in 2022, and I'm currently studying at the University of Chicago. So as you can see right now, I'm in my dorm. It's pretty spacious. Luckily, I got on the 5th floor of the Rene Granville Grossman Residential Commons, which is one of the newer dorms that is relatively nice, and I live with one roommate who's not here right now. But as you can see, I have a closet back there, my bed is here, and I have some shelves, and there's also a small desk that they provide, and everything else that you need you have to bring yourself, including like the blankets and the bed sheets. As for our campus overall, we have a really very nice, mostly old architecture, but there are also some modern buildings. Most famously, our Mansueto Library looks really cool, I think, and it's really famous, but actually personally I don't like it as much because the study space in there is kind of weird. Okay, the second question about the cafeteria food in my university. The cafeteria food at our university is decent. I would say the dining hall next to my dorm is considered the best generally by most students. And I would say that it's not something that I look forward to eating that much, but it definitely does the job. It tastes pretty good. If I were to compare it to Basis food, I would say it's about the same. Memorable places and fun experiences that I've had at college so far, I would say the one that stands out in my mind the most is definitely when me and the people in my house, we went together to a place called The Point, which is along Lake Michigan. It's probably I want to say 20-30 minute walk from campus, and we all went there together. I think it was one Saturday, Sunday night, and we just brought pizza, and we were there just kind of watching Lake Michigan and talking about life and listening to music. So that was definitely one of the most fun experiences. There's always good food near the northern part of campus, all the way up to 53rd Street. But if you go further north to Chinatown, you guys can get all of the Chinese food that you guys want, especially hot pot or a lot of Cantonese or Guangdong restaurants. So if you're ever miss the food back at home, then you can always go to Chinatown, which is just 2-3 metro stops away, or maybe a 10-minute drive. Well, I would say, first of all, I think that there's a lot more flexibility in university. Most of the time, actually, I have empty time slots in my day where I can spend time doing homework, or I can go to the gym, or I can go to my research lab. And basically, you kind of find ways to spend the extra time that you have. Personally, at the start of the year, I found myself perhaps spending more of that time not knowing what to do, so I would just chill at the library or hang out with friends, which is totally fine, especially in your first year. But I think personally, finding meaningful ways to spend this time, such as when I joined our research group, or joining certain clubs that are called RSOs on our campus, is more helpful. So I ended up joining 2 clubs, one of them for related to my major, and another one just in general for Asian engineers and scientists. And I also joined the research group that I mentioned before. I would say that one of the things that I noticed that's different about university life is that at Basis, especially with the small class sizes, it's easy to form your own group of friends that you hang out with most of the time, you eat lunch with together. Basically, if there's free time, and you try to schedule classes that match most of them, since everyone has similar core class choices. However, at university, since everyone's doing a different major, everyone has different requirements for their classes, chances are you won't get to be, you won't find that many people who are in all of your classes. And since you're moving around the entire campus, and everyone has different schedules, it's hard to always stick with the same group and eat breakfast, lunch, dinner with them. Especially let's say, even if you have a friend that's in all of your classes, for dinner you want to it's easiest to eat near your dorm. So like for me, I always just eat with like the people in my house generally for dinner, but at lunch I could be eating with my friends from class. Sometimes if like I ended up studying on my own in the library, then maybe I'll just go eat something really quickly and go to class like on my own. So I think that in that sense, there's a lot more mobility, like you get to meet a lot of people, but then it can be difficult to get a sense of feeling that's similar to high school, where like you get to, like you have this group of friends that you always hang out with. And I think that that's something that's important to find. Like luckily for me, I think I'm very close with the people in my house. Of course, like there's also friends from classes, but we tend to hang out pretty much mostly on the weekends, and in the evenings we hang out in our lounge. So that's like the kind of the circle that I found. Did I feel any culture shock in it? How did I deal with it? I don't think that there's too many culture shocks. There are like cultural differences. So like for example, like wearing shoes inside the room, or like small things like showering in the morning or showering in the evening, and I think that those things you can kind of just talk it out with people. Like I don't see like any massive cultural issues that like are too important to myself, so I haven't had any struggle with culture shock. Finally, for advice for current high school students, especially like with regards to coming to college and stuff, I think it's really important to do a lot of research about the school itself and figure out if like the culture and like the resources and like all these things about the school, if it's the right fit for you. Like your counselors will talk about it a lot, but it's really important. Like even at the end of the day, of course rankings and like how good a school is matters a lot, but like let's say your target range is between like rank 20 to rank 30, like within that range there's definitely schools that are more fit for you and that will allow you to have a better time at college and have resources that are more suited to you. And if you apply to more of those schools, chances are that you'll be able to write about these things that you see, like, oh, I realized that I really like this school culture, or I personally would like to take advantage of these resources. Then if you've already done this research and that's part of the reason why you're applying to this school, it's easier to write those things into your essays, and schools will be able to see that you're actually interested in their school and are more likely to go. So that's one of my main recommendations.